Stop. Hold on one second. There's a number one song. The number one song in the entire world is playing right now. And guess where Remy Ma is? Standing on a tour bus, selling pills. No, no, I'm not joking with you. And in walks Fat Joe. He catches her red handed, looks her dead in the eye, and asks, "Did I just see you make a sale?" Baby, this is the realest thing you're going to hear all day. This is what nothing off limits actually means. This is the kind of story any other artist would carry to their grave out of shame, out of fear, out of pride. But Remy tells it laughing proudly straight into the camera like it's nothing at all. So sit down, make your tea, because trust me, this is only the beginning. And the bombs about to drop will leave your mouth wide open. Today, Remy Ma said the kind of things most people bury deep in their chest and take to the grave. Drug dealing while she had the number one song, finding out she was famous only after landing in jail. That fallout with Fat Joe that changed everything. Nothing, and I mean nothing, was off limits. This isn't some polished, rehearsed PR interview. This is the girl from the Bronx who looks you dead in the eye and tells you her whole raw truth. So grab your coffee. Let's dive into the real, uncut, no makeup story of a legend. First, you've got to understand the era that built this woman. Kids today think Kim is easy, one viral video, one trend, and boom, you're a star. But the era Remy came up in, there was no TikTok, no Instagram, no Snapchat. There was only one thing that mattered: skill, pure skill. And Remy says it herself. Back then, it was decided in 2 bars. They didn't like your first 2 lines. That was it. Sandman woo, and you were booed off, sent home, done. No second chance. Now, add another layer on top of that. If you were a girl, people had already decided you were trash before you opened your mouth. You understand? You had to prove yourself twice as hard just to be heard. So being good was never enough, honey. In that era, if you were a woman and you wanted to survive, you had to be great. Absolute top tier. And that pressure, that fire, that's exactly where the real Remy Ma story begins. Now, let me tell you a twist you've probably never heard. Remy Ma never even wanted to be a rapper. Not at all. It was never part of her plan. So how did it start? Listen to this. She was the gangster's secret weapon. These dudes would take her hood to hood for rap battles, and the other side would think, oh, it's just a girl, easy target. And then Remy would smoke every single one of them, one by one. And you know what her payment was? Not cash, JanSport bags, Air Max sneakers. People were battling for jackets, and this girl was leaving people flat on the floor for a fresh pair of sneakers. But here's the part that'll actually shock you. This is the same Remy who was a nerd in school. Yeah, for real. Won spelling bees, memorized entire books for storytelling contest, front row at every science fair. She'd come home and open her poetry book, hunt for verses that rhymed naturally, and lay them over a beat. Slowly, the poetry book turned into a book of rhymes. So on one side, there's the sweet little library girl, and on the other side, a street monster. And it's exactly that split personality that made her who she is today. Now, this confession is going to genuinely make you pause. Remy did not want that project cycle. You know, the one where people just keep passing down the same apartment lease generation after generation. Grandfather to father, father to child, and life stays frozen in the exact same spot forever. So what did she decide? She says it without a flinch. She sold everything: weed, pills, coke, all of it. No shame, no excuses, staring straight into the camera. And then the line, "I guarantee you," is going to set the internet on fire. She says, "New York women grind just like the men, if not harder." Listen to that line again, if not harder. That's not just a sentence, that's a whole mentality. That was the hunger that wouldn't let her sleep at night. And that same hunger, that same hustle, would later become a direct problem in front of a very big man. And that man was Fat Joe himself. Now listen to the full Fat Joe story, because this one's pure gold. Set the scene. Lean Back is number 1 on the charts. The whole country is singing this song. They're in Manhattan, sitting on the tour bus about to roll out. And Remy is standing on that bus selling pills, and her logic is going to make you either laugh or hold your head. She says, "Look, I needed the money. I had old stock left over. I wasn't about to just waste it." Baby, that's a level of hustle you cannot teach. Number one song in your pocket, and you're still moving old product because money is money. And Joe absolutely lost it. He goes, "We've got the number one song in the world, and you're out here selling drugs?" He kicked her off the bus for a day or two, sent her home, and that was the turning point. Remy told herself, "Okay, that's it. Now I'm taking this rap thing seriously." That was the moment Remy Ma actually became Remy Ma. But hold on, the real shocking twist is still coming. This is the darkest and most ironic part of the whole story. Listen carefully. Remy Ma had no idea just how big of a star she'd become. Seriously, she didn't realize it until she landed in jail. Think about that. She was on the actual front cover of the Daily News in front of the whole city. But for what? Not for her music, not for her hit records, but because of her case, because of her arrest. It was sitting inside a jail cell, seeing her own name on the cover of the newspaper, that she realized for the first time how famous she really was. Now feel how backwards that is. The thing that ends most normal artists' entire careers. Jail, charges, newspaper headlines. That same thing showed Remy a mirror the stage never could. And then, by the grace of God, she came back from that jail. Not broken, but sharper, wiser, more dangerous than ever. And that's exactly where the whole game flipped. Now, let me tell you the lesson Remy learned from Pun and Joe. And honestly, this is something every single person needs to hear. Whether you're an artist or not, Joe told her something she absolutely hated at the time. He said, "Love your friends? Sure, but love them from a distance. Surround yourself with people who have what you have or more than what you have. Otherwise, you'll always be in the red, always at a loss." Remy was young then. She'd get mad, thinking, what kind of talk is this? But then time explained everything. A full 20 years later, every word finally made sense. Now, when she sees new artists rolling around with an entourage of 15 people, she just smiles and thinks, let's see how long that lasts, because she knows it all falls apart one day. And the line she said really hits. She said, "I started this journey 100 deep, and today there's only four of us. 100 down to four. That's a lesson no book can teach you, only experience can." But out of all these relationships, there was one that was the hardest to hold on to, and that was Fat Joe himself. Now, listen to the inside story that very few people know. After coming home from jail, Remy and Fat Joe had a serious falling out. The two people who built history together weren't even speaking to each other for months. And then Remy took the first step. She picked up the phone, called Joe, and said exactly what was on her heart without dancing around it. She said, "You talk to 50 Cent, you're friends with Jay-Z, you sit with all these big people, but you're not talking to me, the one who bled and grinded right next to you." That wasn't a small thing. There was pain in it. There was all that hurt. And Joe's response, just three little words. He said, "I love you. I miss you." That's it. And in that one moment, months of ice just melted away. They went straight to the studio. And from that one reconciliation, from that one phone call came all the way up. Triple platinum, one phone call, one apology, and straight into the history books. And now the part Remy spoke about most from the heart, the difference in how she parented her two kids. And there's a truth in this that every parent is going to feel. With her son, Remy was a very young mother. She was practically still a kid herself when he came. So her son was almost like a homie to her. She'd take him to the studio. He'd be there till late night watching everything. Everything was allowed. No rules, no boundaries, because the mother herself didn't know what boundaries even were. But with her daughter, complete opposite, more protective, stricter, wiser. She says it herself. The things I used to do with my son, I would never, ever do with my daughter, because now she knows the difference. Think about it. At 19 years old, she was a child herself, holding an entire life in her hands. She didn't even know what she was doing. And today, that same woman is running not just her kids, but a whole empire. And just think about that journey. That same girl from The Bronx, who was once selling pills on a tour bus, is now running her own Remy Ma network on DirecTV, on Roku, on LG, everywhere. From a drug dealer to a media owner, that's not a story. That's a whole revolution in one lifetime. And trust me, Remy opened up about so much more in this interview, how women in hip hop have now gotten even bigger than the men, and the juicy inside secrets still left to spill. All that juicy part I'm bringing in the very next one. And trust me, you do not want to miss it. So make sure you go subscribe so that notification hits you first. Until then, keep your tea nice and hot always.